Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. The night felt normal. I had the house to myself, just lounging on the couch and watching my favorite show. Everything was calm until something outside caught my attention. Through the living room window, I spotted a figure standing motionless near the neighbor's yard. At first I thought maybe it was someone visiting them, nothing out of the ordinary. But the longer they stood there, the more unsettling it became. This person wasn't moving, just staring at the neighbor's front door. It didn't feel right. I shook it off, convincing myself it was probably nothing. Later, I headed to the kitchen for a snack. That's when I heard a faint creak from behind me. I turned around slowly and noticed the front door wasn't shut all the way. My chest tightened. I hadn't locked it. I stood frozen, debating what to do. Part of me wanted to call the police. But instead, I stepped toward the door, hoping I was just being paranoid. It creaked open as I touched it, revealing a quiet, still house. Then came the sound of footsteps from upstairs. My heart began to race. Someone was inside. I backed away and slipped into a nearby closet, trying not to make a sound. My breath was shallow. I could hear them walking above me, checking each room. They were searching for something. Or someone. I held my phone tightly, ready to call for help, when suddenly I heard a loud slam from downstairs. I stayed hidden, listening. Then I heard a scream echoing from outside. It wasn't from inside my house anymore. Whoever it was had moved on. I waited in silence, my entire body trembling, until I was sure they were gone. Then I called the police. When they arrived, I told them everything. They went next door, and that's when the reality hit me. My neighbors had been attacked. An older couple who always waved at me when I passed by. Nothing had been stolen. It wasn't a robbery. The attacker had meant to go to their house all along. The only reason he came into mine was because he got confused. Wrong house. It chilled me to the core. I had almost been in their place. I had almost been the one who didn't make it. The police caught him a few days later. His reason for what he did was disturbing. The whole thing had been planned. I was only spared because of a mistake. Now, I still live with the thought that I was inches from something terrible. I keep wondering if there was something I could have done. Some way I could have warned them. But I didn't. All I can do is remember that night for what it was. A random twist of fate. A moment where horror brushed past me and landed on someone else. It still haunts me. And I don't think it ever won't. I was lying on my couch watching a comedy late at night, just trying to unwind. The room was dim, the TV glowing in front of me, and everything felt quiet and calm. Then I heard a faint sound at the front door. It wasn't a knock. It was the doorknob twisting and rattling. My stomach dropped. Without thinking, I reached into the TV stand where I kept a knife for emergencies. I've always been a little paranoid, and moments like this were exactly why. The noise didn't stop. Whoever was outside kept turning the handle like they were trying to open it. I panicked and rushed upstairs. My place isn't secure by any means. It's a small loft in a rough neighborhood. No cameras. No heavy-duty locks. Just a regular door with glass that could be broken easily. The upstairs area doesn't even have a real door to close off, it's just open space. As I crouched upstairs, I grabbed my phone and dialed for help. My hands were shaking. I was whispering into the phone, trying not to be heard, but the sounds from the door continued the whole time. It was like they were trying hard to force it open. Then came something even worse. I felt a breeze. A faint rush of air moved through the loft, coming from the front entrance. I couldn't tell if the door had opened or not. I was too afraid to go look. I didn't even dare peek through the blinds. The emergency operator stayed on the line for several minutes before telling me help was on the way. Then the call ended. I was left sitting in the dark, hyperventilating. Eventually, the rattling stopped. But I stayed upstairs, frozen in place, until I found the courage to peek through a small corner of the window. I couldn't see a thing. It was too dark, too quiet. When the police finally arrived, they asked me if I had been using anything. I told them I was sober. I drink lightly now and then, but I hadn't touched a drop that night. This was real. They walked around outside for a few minutes, said it might have been someone homeless who thought the place was empty, and left just as quickly as they came. I was stunned. They didn't take anything seriously. They told me to get a better look next time. As if I was supposed to be brave enough to stare down someone trying to break in. After they left, I had a full-blown panic attack. I passed out and didn't sleep at all. By morning, I dragged myself outside to take a look. Trash was scattered everywhere. The front door looked untouched, but I noticed marks near the lock and scratches on the wall. Nothing deep, just enough to make me wonder if someone had tried to slide something in, like a card. There wasn't enough damage to prove anything. Maybe someone was messing with me. Maybe it was real. Either way, I packed a bag and went to stay at my mom's for a while. I haven't been able to sleep since. The whole thing still has me shaken. Before we continue with the rest of the stories, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chilling tale. My childhood home sat quietly in a small Indiana town. It was a beautiful blue Dutch colonial surrounded by tall pine trees that lined every street. The house had been standing since the 1800s, and while it looked charming from the outside, I always felt something about it was just off. The neighborhood itself was friendly. Lots of kids ran around, and our families often gathered for block parties in the summer. Everything felt like a scene from a movie, except for one strange detail. At the end of our cul-de-sac stood the town's hospital. A massive brick building that almost looked like a castle. From my backyard, I could see the emergency room entrance and part of the parking lot. It wasn't terrible, but sometimes ambulances would roar in during the night, and on rare occasions, a helicopter would land right behind our house to take someone to a bigger city. Adults would bring us kids outside in our pajamas to watch. Looking back now, it feels a little dark. Aside from the noise, the hospital didn't bother us much. But that didn't stop us from making up ghost stories. We'd whisper about spirits wandering out of the hospital and through our neighborhood, lost between worlds. One night in early winter, snow had fallen fast and heavy. I stayed up late hoping for a snow day. The house was quiet and peaceful, the snow outside muffling every sound. I eventually drifted off. Later in the night, something pulled me awake. No noise at first. Just that strange feeling, like your mind noticing something before your body does. I sat up. No lights from my parents' room. Everything was still. I tried to fall back asleep, but that was when I heard it. A low moaning sound. Soft sobs. I stayed completely still, trying to make sense of what I was hearing. Then came a voice, faint but clear. "Help me." Over and over. It was coming from downstairs. I slipped out of bed, careful not to make a sound. My room sat at the top of the stairs, and from there I could see straight through the glass door that led to the back deck. Snow had piled against the door, untouched. That voice continued. I crept closer and crouched near the top step. Then I saw her. A woman stood outside on the back deck. Her hair was frozen stiff from the snow, and she wore nothing but a hospital gown. Her bare feet pressed into the snow. Her cheeks were streaked with frozen tears. She looked right at me. I didn't move. Her moaning grew louder. She started tugging at her gown, at a bandage on her arm. Then she turned her eyes away, and I finally broke from the trance. I ran straight to my parents' room, crying as I shook my dad awake. I told him someone was outside. He rushed to the stairs, looked through the door, and saw her too. He picked up the phone and called for help. They found out later she was a patient from the dementia unit. She had somehow wandered out, barefoot, and gotten lost in the snow. No one knew how long she had been out there, but she had made it to our home. Staff from the hospital arrived quickly and took her away. I never found out what happened after that. I can only hope she survived. We moved away a few years later, but on snowy nights I still dream about that woman. Her frozen stare, her voice echoing through the dark. That house, that night, left something behind in me. Something that never really melted away. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.